on the wrong track. Richard Horan of Westwood, Massachusetts, parked his car on a quiet, snow-covered New Hampshire road in 1983. Slid his automobile from the trailer. He scooted off for a day's fun. He returned to an unpleasant surprise. His car and trailer looked exactly as if they'd been run over by a freight train. They had been. Unknowingly, Horan had parked on a part of the road that ran over the main Central Railroad tracks. Which were hidden beneath the snow. The train couldn't be stopped in time to avoid a crunch. When Horan came back to tow the wrecked car, he found insult added to injury. On the windshield was a ticket for improper parking. Well, maybe if you had seen that ticket sooner, your car wouldn't have gotten flattened. Just saying. Learn to smile. In 1985, Jerry Todd of Richland, Washington, left his 1981 Ford parked on the street and joined a carpool to work. He returned at the end of the day to see number 8, the 8th car in 10 hours, ram the left side of his Ford. All 8 cars skidded on the stretch of ice 18 inches wide, and whammo! According to the police officer Norm Conway, who responded to 3 of the accidents, "That's some kind of state record," said Todd. "You've got to have a sense of humor when your car is hit 8 times. Not very funny. A court in Denmark sentenced a man to 5 months in jail for drunk driving on the high seas. The screwball accident occurred in 1982 aboard a Danish ferry sailing between Sweden and Denmark. The man was feeling no pain when he climbed into a trailer truck parked on the ferry vehicle deck. He drove back and forth until he collided with a parked car. Guess who I ran into today? 2 women of Swansea, Wisconsin, got to know each other the hard way in 1981. Their cars collided at a 5th Street intersection. As the policemen packed up their paperwork on the fender bender, the 2 women drove off in different directions. Half a minute later, they collided at the intersection a block away. Watch out for those curves. Sleep may be better than medicine for some, but for a 15-year-old boy in England, sleep was dangerous to his health. Police found the boy shivering in the middle of the road in Southampton on a cold December night in 1983. All he had on were his pajamas. The boy explained his plight. He had gotten out of bed at his home in Southport, walked to the car, and driven 27 miles to Southampton while fast asleep. He said he had never been behind the wheel of a car before. His parents admitted that he made a history of sleepwalking. Where there's life. Dorothy Peirce of Ovenden England made Britain's front pages in 1983. She was pictured happily tearing up her learner's license tag. More than 65% of first-timers flunk the British driver's test, one of the toughest in the world. Is that real? Is that true? Is that true? People watching this in England, is that true? Is that true? Okay. Pierce showed how tough. She passed, but it had taken 15 attempts and 23 years. It's a national record for stamina, but not for determination. Another Englishwoman, Miriam Hargrave, whizzed through 39 failures in 8 years before she passed the test in 1970 at the age of 77. Noodles Ferrari. Old sports cars never die. They just stand and serve. Mike Sheenan of Costa Mesa, California, couldn't bear the thought of parting with his sports car, a racy 1969 Ferrari convertible. With the help of professional artists, she had cubed the car into a piece of furniture in 1982. A car crusher flattened it, minus its wheels and interior, into a 2x2 by 4 1,000-pound chunk. The artist pounded the mess here and there, painted it a bright Ferrari red, mounted it on a base, and fixed the glass top on it. Eureka! The perfect car fee table. Slowman on the totem pole. For 70 years, Lillian Slowman, 91, of Arundel, England, had driven without an accident or a ticket. In 1984, a judge went out of his way to praise her spotless record. Then he canceled her license because she drove too slowly. Officially, Slowman was charged with causing traffic jams on highways by creeping along at a maddening 15 miles an hour. Chapter 3. The Get a Horse years. Hey, that's nice. The November 1905 issue of Horseless Age published stories by doctors relating their experiences with the automobile. The doctor in Illinois wrote that he bought an auto in 1903 to replace his 3 horses. He reasoned that cars, like horses, required the loving touch. So twice a week he raised the car on jacks to rest the tires and used a stove to warm the motor on chilly mornings. There were no fools. Were there no fools, there would be no wise men. Jeers and cries of "Get a horse!" rang the ears of early motorists. Before the 20th century, the automobile was called a rich man's toy, and others named "too shocking" for publication. The horseless carriage would never make it. The Doubting Thomases maintained, besides, anyone traveling at twice the speed of a stagecoach wouldn't be able to breathe in the rush of the air, and the rush of air would suffocate them. A popular publication, the Literary Digest, commented in 1889, "The ordinary horseless carriage is at present a luxury for the wealthy, and almost its price will probably fall in the future. It will never, of course, come into as common use as the bicycle." Quit while you're ahead. The first cars were carriages with a motor mounted in the rear. They had carriage wheels, carriage springs, and carriage dashboards. Seen head on, they looked like a buggy that had rolled from a barn while Dad was fetching the family horse. Out on the road, they were far from harmless. The bang and clatter and roar of the two-cylinder engine spread terror among the horse population. Uriah Smith of Battle Creek, Michigan, came up with an invention to make the roads safe for gas burners and hay burners alike. He fixed a life-sized wooden horse's head and neck to the front of his auto to make it look like a horse and carriage. He named the rig his Horsey Horseless Carriage. In 1899, he formed the Horsey Horseless Carriage Company at Battle Creek. Alack, his horse-faced car was less than a galloping success, rejected by both Dobbin and drivers. It slipped headfirst into oblivion. Name of the game. Frig. Come on, Sadie, focus. Come on, Sadie. Sadie. Come on, girl. Come on, just focus on my hand for now. Okay, good. Stop being so tippy. Why are you so tippy? Come on, come on. Focus. Have you had enough of this book as I have? Yes. There we go. Now maybe we can get you to focus, huh, Sadie? Come on, focus. So you're not gonna focus, huh? Not gonna focus? Okay, that's fine. Okay, where'd we leave off? Automobiles were frequently named for the men who put America on wheels, such as Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ford. Next most common were the names of cities and states in which the cars were made, such as Detroit, Chicago, and California. Left over were enough names to satisfy just about every buyer. 8 cars were named for presidents: Grant, Harding, Jackson, Johnson, Lincoln, Monroe, Roosevelt, and Washington. Hunters had numerous cars with animal names to choose from, including 7 little buffaloes. Anglers had a fish, and a brooks and an anchor. Educators had a Harvard, a Columbia, and an Oxford. Blowhards had a Gale. Girl Scout leaders had a Brownie. Surgeons cottoned to a Blood. Exterminators took pest drivers in a Bugmobile. Clock watchers eyed the Ilgrin. Fatties drooled over a calorie or an American chocolate. Practical jokers had an imp or a kidder. Communists had an everybody's, and regional loyalists had a Southern, a Midwest, and a Dixie. Buyers who needed help telling a car's front from its rear went to the frontmobile. Those who sought a hint on performance started shopping for a quick, a silent, a speedwell, and a U.S. long distance, or a zip. Those who longed to recapture their youth looked first at a lad's car, or a Peter Pan. For patriotic citizens, there were a Minuteman 6, an Independence, and a Liberty, who, if his name was Hills, could resist a Beverly. Oh, okay. Wow, you're getting worse and worse. Are you okay? You okay in there, Cam? Let's take a break here. I think I need to turn this off